Hi.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just please keep your mics off for now, please. Just keep your mics off for now, please. But welcome. We just have quite a few guys joining in, so just give me like a minute. We have quite a few guys joining in. Pleasant afternoon, everybody. Pleasant afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Dion Lafoucade, the Technical Director of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. It gives me great pleasure to welcome everyone here today, and we are in for a treat. I could just tell you guys that we are in for a treat. We have Carlos is obviously, as you guys can see, Carlos is with us. But before I put you guys over onto Carlos, I would like to welcome one of the members, the newest members of the FIFA Trinidad and Tobago Football Association Normalization Committee, Mr. Nicholas Gomez. Mr. Nicholas Gomez, can you please bring a few words on behalf of the Normalization Committee for me, please?
Hi, good afternoon, Dion. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this There's Hope. And we look forward to Carlos's contribution. He's a real fun guy and he's a national hero. Carlos, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We really look forward to your insight and your contribution. Having spent some time with you in a previous session, I know it's going to be a lot of fun. So Dion, thank you for making this happen. I mean, this program has just been fantastic, a great idea, and for pulling it off and bringing all of these young adults to us this afternoon to participate in this great session. So thank you so much for all that you have done for the TTFA in doing this, Dion. And welcome, kids, and enjoy it. And feel free to ask Carlos any questions. And I know he will be game for anything that you have. He's going to offer up his experiences to you. Take care and enjoy.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Nicholas. And what I would like to do, I'd like to just start off with a little prayer, right? So, dear God, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for Carlos. Thank you for all the people on the call. Lord, we are all special in your eyes. Lord, and thank you for reminding us that there is hope, for all of us. So thank you in Jesus' name I pray, amen. So Carlos, I welcome. Carlos, can you just have a few opening remarks for the audience, please?
Well, first and foremost, girls, boys, ladies, men, it's always a pleasure to be on these conference calls, to give insights, to give a bit of knowledge, and to obviously answer a few questions. I know obviously a lot of you have a few questions. I hope I can give them the best answer possible. And as you say, you can ask me any questions once it's in relation to there is hope. And there is hope once you believe. All right, so once again, thank you very much for having me today, and I'm a willing participant.
Okay, thank you very much, Carlos. And what we're going to say is, you guys, when you have your questions, please use the raise hand option, right? There's a raise hand. Please put your hand up, and Yale, who has been doing a fantastic job, our administrator, technical administrator, will help us and to help those questions come through. Some of you, we will actually invite you to unmic yourself and ask your question. So, Carlos, how important for you is that word hope? A lot of these kids have been locked in their homes. And let me welcome, we have quite a few kids, not only from Trinidad, from abroad. We want to welcome you also. And the kids are also from many different sports, right? So I think we have, when we counted, it was somewhere between 15 and 20 different disciplines. So, Carlos, how important is hope for our players?
Hope on the whole, not just for our players, but people of different creed and race. How to say it is a very powerful word when you look at it in different contexts, because if you don't have hope in yourself, then you won't have hope in much. And you have to believe in yourself so that that hope could take you to the next level. I always had that belief that once you got hope, anything that is put in front of you, you will overcome it. And I'm living testament to that, regardless of what, you have that belief and hope, you can go to the next level.
Thank you, Carlos. Carlos, give us an example, and I know you have quite a few. Give us an example where throughout your career, because obviously you came from playing as a youth all the way and getting up to playing in the Premiership, that's huge. Give us some examples, if you can, of where you had to count on having that hope and that belief in yourself.
I will go far back, Dion, as when in my 20 years of professional football, it would have to be, I would go back far back as 2017, 2016. I had an ACL injury, and a few of you who don't know what the ACL is, the anterior cruciate ligaments, where I ruptured that ligament in my knee, lateral ligaments, hamstring. And I was out for 11 months. Now that's a whole season and maybe a couple months. Now, with the mentality that I had, if I didn't have that self-belief and that hope, bear in mind, I was 36 years of age. A lot of people would be finished their career by 33, 34. And I said to myself, the injury has already taken toll on me. What am I going to do? And the hope that I had for myself is that I'm going to come back even better. For that 11 months, I had maybe the only days that I had off was a Sunday. And I worked so hard because I knew exactly what I wanted. I know I had hope in everything that I was striving for. I was out of contract at the end of the season. And I proved myself after that. And I was signed for extra 2 years. So that saying is that because I believed in myself and had that hope of going to the next level, I succeeded and I defied all odds, regardless of what. Yes, it was hard. I would not say it was not. It was really tough. At times I was thinking, why am I still doing it? But I'm a fighter and I believe that I know exactly what I wanted and I went for it. And in the end, I was rewarded with a 2-year contract.
Carlos, was there any doubt in your mind? Because to get an injury, that type of ACL injury, and coming at the end of your contract, was there any doubt, saying, hey, I wonder if they think, well, now is a good time to sell him or to let him be a free agent? Was there any doubt in your mind at that point in time? I know you obviously you said you had that belief in yourself, but was there a slight doubt? Does that happen to a player?
There is always doubt, but you have to understand is that everyone mindset, everyone thinks differently. Some players will think because of the age that they are, I'm not going to go through the whole rehabilitations and all of that. Some players will say, I'll do my rehab and I'll retire. I still had the love for the game. I still knew I had what it takes to still play the game. And I wanted to. And in the end, I had doubts. There was days I was in the gym. When I start back running out on the field, kicking a ball, I was still getting that pain in my joints. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I still doing this? But you know what? Something in the back of my mind was saying, Carlos, no, don't give up. Don't give up. No. And it's that mentality of that die-hard mentality. I always had that saying is that it's going to stop. It's going to finish. It's going to finish. And that voice in the back of my head was saying it's going to finish, was just telling me the pain and that nightmare that you are living through right now is going to finish, and you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's what pushed me, push until I was fully fit.
Wow. So Carlos, these two voices, I'm sure you're hearing two voices at the same time. You know, it could be, this is it. No, I still have a lot more in me. And let me ask you this, Carlos. The people around you, were everyone around you encouraging, or was there somebody saying, Carlos, you know, I think it's a good time to hang up the boots? You know, what were the voices around you?
It was just pure positivity, pure positivity. No one was saying to me, Carlos, what are you still doing this? You know, no one, because everyone knew I still had a lot to contribute. And when I went to the club, obviously it was my first full season when I went to Millwall, and they knew exactly what they were missing when I got injured. And when I came back, they were like, all right, we need to get him back as much as possible. Yes, it's not injury that you could say, oh, you go to bed at night and wake up and, you know, you could run it off. It was an injury that you got to go step by step. You know, it's like installments, like you're paying off a mortgage, you pay installments, you know, things like that. And it was a progress, a really nice progress. And no one, I remember I used to take my eldest daughter with me to the gym, and she used to be next to me on the bike, pedaling, because that was because at times I train by myself. When everyone is away on summer vacation and holidays, going on their nice, sipping on their pina coladas and stuff, I was in the gym because I knew I had to get myself back fit. I wasn't even studying these guys out on their holidays. They deserved it because they played a whole season, so they deserved their little break. So I used to take my daughter with me, and we used to go on the bike and we used to pedal, even though she was that bit short, her toes might reach the pedals. But you know, I had my little buddy there, and that was my little rock at that time. That, you know, those little things, because she was having more fun than me because she's on a bike, you know. But at the same time, I knew what was I focus on.
So Carlos, for the young people in the room, some of them, obviously, you know, peer pressure is huge.
Oh wow, yes.
If they have friends who, you know, obviously you talked about a very supportive environment. You had the experts, you had your family there with you, so you were surrounded with positivity. But for some of these kids who, as you know, buddies, their homies and people they hang out with, who are normally could be sometimes a bit negative, what advice would you have for them in terms of, in that period when things seem really, really dark, and your friends who you look up to are giving you this negative feedback? What advice do you have for the young people on this call?
I would say straight and forward, Dion. Those people that leading you down that road, they are not your friends. Straightforward, they are not your friends, because if they can't understand between I don't want to do that and they're still forcing you to do things that is not in your category, then they are not your friends. You just need to cut those people out straight away, regardless of what. Cut your losses. You know, as I say, friends comes and goes. I always say to my kids, you be leaders, don't be followers, be leaders. And that there will just propel you to the next level. Don't follow no one. You be yourself, you be a leader. Let people follow you, let people generate off of that nice experience, not that dark side where you're thinking, oh, let's do this. Yeah, we can get away with it. No, because those people who are leading you down that path, they're not your friends. Straightforward, not your friends.
And then, so Carlos, let me ask you this. Have you been in a situation where you determine among yourself to be the leader, but the people that you want to follow you have not necessarily bought into your vision? How were you able to convince them that this is the right way to go? Let us take this trail. Let us blaze our own trail. How were you able to convince them? How, as a young person?
I used to lead by example. Now I was how to say it, growing up young, you know, I was how to say it, as kids, you know, you do certain things not through not realizing the consequences you could suffer. And I used to try to lead by example in terms of things that I do, how I speak, how I portray myself to be, you know, walking mannerism, how I speak to my elderlies. You know, when I speak to my elders, when I was growing up, I have to put a title on your name: auntie, uncle, mom, dad. You know, how you do it, regardless if that person is not blood related. I will get knocked behind the head, and I will forget what day it is, because the way that I was brought up is that these elderly people, they are not your friends. Okay, so you got to show them a bit of respect, and the only way you got to learn is then you look at it, you look at the picture. At that point in time, you don't really want to see it, but the older you get, you realize. But yeah, it's true, because even at my age now, at 42 going on 43, my elders, I still put a title on it, because that's just the way that I am, and that's the way that you brought up. It's no harm in saying to people, hey, good morning, good day, thank you, please. You know, certain things like that. You're very polite to people. And that just, when people see those things, you bring a different aura into the room, not just into the room or around people. People look at her and they say, oh, this young lady, she's pleasant. This gentleman, he's really nice, you know, and things like that. And then the other kids and the other young kids could see that and say, I might try that. Let's see where it's going to take me at the end of the day. I mean, not everyone is cut from the same cloth, but that don't say you can't take a bit of positive and put it into your life, you know.
Let me build on that, Carlos, because what you're talking about, there's value systems. And what you're telling me, if I'm one of the young people on the call, I have it in my mind, I want to be the best I can be. I want to go as far as I can, whatever sport I'm playing. I just want to be that name everybody knows, the world knows about. But you're telling me, Carlos, I have to be a nice person. What if that's not my personality? What does being a nice person have to do with it?
Well, first and foremost, you got to be disciplined in everything that you do. Because if I am going for an interview, what is the first thing, Dion, you're going to be looking at when I walk into your office?
Yeah, I'll be looking at what kind of person you are, and I might even put a little trap by you, because this is a true story, Carlos. This is a true story.
Yeah.
One of the top CEOs, he invited very, very educated people for an interview, and he put somebody looking like a cleaner close to the door, mopping the floor, and he just put them there, and everybody walked past, went past, and so I went into the interview, came back out, and there's one person who said, you know, good morning, how are you? Told that to the person cleaning the floor, and everybody went to the interview, and he said, okay, guys, I'll contact you. And the CEO went outside and asked the person cleaning the floor, which one of those people told you good morning? And when they described the person, he said, that's the person I'm giving the job to. So it comes back to about being a very good person. So again, stress on that for me, Carlos, how important that is.
It is. It's because it takes nothing away to be pleasant to people, because no one is different. And this is where the world is so messed up right now, because everyone looks at everyone differently because of their skin, because of the way they look, and you know, the discrimination and all of that. It's not taking away nothing from you. I always say to my kids, when you smile, as you look at me and you in that background there, Dion, when you smile, you if a lot of people don't know, you use less muscle in your body than when you're angry. Yeah. And a smile to someone says a lot. So people need to realize that it's no harm in just being nice to people. You know, it's because that can take you a long way. Now, this guy who maybe got the job from that CEO, bloody hell, he's maybe thinking, I've hit the gold mine here now. Like, you know, just for saying, he's maybe walking down the street telling every single person that he passed good morning, because he might be thinking, well, but that's just the way that he was brought up, maybe. And he saw the opportunity that, okay, the janitor is there. What's wrong with him? It's a pleasant morning. It's a good morning. it is morning at that time, so it's no harm in, I mean, I do it. I'm not doing it to get a response back from someone. Okay, I'm doing it because I feel like doing it and I want to do it. I want to tell you good morning, have a pleasant day. Okay, if you want to reply to me, that's totally down to you. Okay, but I know to myself, and I believe that it's no harm or no stress in me saying to you good morning, good evening, hi, have a nice day. Simple.
Wow. You know what? While you were talking there, Carlos, you know what came to my mind? And you folks who came with your books to write stuff down. It's nice to be important, but it's actually more important to be nice. That just came to mind while you were speaking.
It's of course. Of course it is.
Carlos, what about we have these and so great that these youths are on with us. What about the youth who was just dreaming about the big paycheck, that big fancy paycheck? We know somebody get some money that, man, hey, Carlos, just sign me up for 1 week work.
1 week. Listen, as guys are still talking about it. Guys still talk about that. But you know what? It's how to say, you got to look at the bigger picture. Okay. Yes, you want that paycheck. And I always say there is always life after football, after sports. Now, yes, you can want just that one paycheck. Now, what are you going to do with that one paycheck? Are you going to squander it? Are you going to invest? Are you going to just sit on it? You got to look beyond that one paycheck. Okay. Yes, sportsmen careers are very short careers and they look for that, maybe that 1-2 big paycheck. But at the same time, regardless of when they get that one big paycheck, they're looking beyond that one big paycheck because they're thinking, all right, I could invest, I can do this, I can do that. So they structure things so that when they do get that paycheck, it's already in motion to set things going forward to the next. Okay, so yes, we want that big paycheck. I think everyone does. But you got to be very clever with it and think before you act.
Okay, so Carlos, I heard somebody made a statement once, and I really want you to help me understand it. It's more important to fulfill my potential than to fulfill a dream. Because there's a difference between fulfilling one's potential as opposed to fulfilling a dream. Can you help me understand that? And the young people on the call.
No, we do dream. We can have all the potential, but you have to dream to showcase that potential. All right. Everyone dream. I had dreams to play at the highest level, which I did. But once you get to that next level of fulfilling that potential, that's where the dream comes in, because you dream to be that person that you always wanted to be, or you dream that you're going to make this one happy. You're going to make your family happy. And now, once you dream, that potential will eventually come into play. Then you can showcase that.
So I've made my dream was to make the high school team. Right? Okay. I made the high school team. That's my dream. I dreamt about it. And I got picked. But my potential says, so let's say I dream and I end up on the bench. I fulfill a dream, I end up on the bench. Yeah. But my potential says I could be a starter for the team. How can you explain that to me? For example, or I want to play in the Premiership. I want to play in the Premiership. I want to play in the top sports in the world, whether it's tennis, basketball, and I actually get there and I've made it, but my potential says I could become one of the greats in the game. What stops me from going on? Because I fulfill a dream. Yeah. This was always a dream, but what stops me from really realizing my potential?
Believing in yourself, that regardless of you dream of getting what you did, now you have to believe that you can go the next step. Now, it takes a lot when I say believe, because at the same time, you got to have discipline. And that is the key ingredients in any success. If you don't have discipline, things will fall. Okay, so from believing and get into that and dreaming and get into that, and then you're going to fulfill that potential, you got to have discipline in the way that you go about it now. And you got to work hard, because nothing comes easy. Okay, you're going to get challenges in front of you. And as I was saying before, are you going to, when you first get on a bicycle, when you fall off the first time, are you going to stop? No, you're not. You're going to dust yourself off and you're going to go. But you got to be focused on what is that you actually want. Go for it. And I always use this this term. Like, a lot of people, when they sign their contracts, it's like, yes, they got it. Now, what is more full on? One hand, two hand. Okay, both hands. So when you get that, you get your contract. Now you want to get the next hand there, so that you cement that, you seal it. A lot of people say when they sign their first contract, they don't want the ink to smudge. So they have a blow dryer in one hand and the pen in one hand. So once they sign it, they're drying that ink. Yeah, so they seal it. Yeah, so this is that if it's a left-hander or right-hander, once you get hold of that one, regardless of what, you make sure you cement it with the next grip, so that no one can take that away from you, regardless of what, because you work your way to making sure that you got both hands on it.
Wow, that's powerful, Carlos. And what we have, I want Samson Carell to unmic himself, and then you guys start putting your hands up, because it's not about myself and Carlos alone. I want you guys to be more interactive. Samson, can you ask your question to Carlos, please? And welcome, Samson.
Yes. Greetings, everyone. I'd like to thank Mr. Edwards, Mr. Gomez, and you, of course, Mr. Fasad, for actually putting this together. Mr.
Edwards is my dad.
Oh,
You can call him Carlos, that's fine.
Mr. Carlos Edwards.
Hey, the kid was playing respect, so that's fine. He's learning.
Yeah, that's good.
My name's Samson Crow. I'm part of the football club, International Development Football, and our whole first team is here today to listen along.
Okay,
we're located in the Raleigh-Cary area of North Carolina. So first off, on behalf of everyone here, I'd like to thank all the players representing IDF and everyone here especially. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to hear about your journey and learning about it through your local and professional football career. All right, so into the question that I wanted to ask, you kind of already touched on it a little bit, but it being, what do you believe the formula of success is, or what attributes of a footballer creates success in that professional environment? And now knowing that there are multiple sports here, you could maybe just do formula of success just in general, but yeah, it doesn't have to be in the football environment. But
I mean, as I said before, going forward, it's, you learn from mistakes. Okay, you learn from mistakes regardless of what job you do, what sport you play, you learn from mistakes. That don't say that it's a mistake and you're going to do it just to try and learn from it. Okay, because if you're going to hold an electric wire, knowing well and truly you're going to get electrocuted, you're not going to hold it to try and learn from it. All right, and this is what I was saying to Dion earlier, is that to be successful in anything that you do going forward, you've got to be disciplined at it. You got to also, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I had something when I said to Dion, obviously, and one of the lecturers, how I put it to my players, my young players, young boys, is don't make excuses. Okay, don't make excuses. As a unit, you are like a family. So you got to make sure that you have each other's back. You got to make sure that you know how you go in left, right, center, forward, back, however it is. You don't want to start making excuses, because eventually you start running out of excuses. You start making little excuses, making the big excuses. It's like, and the example that I drawn to the guys was, there are certain guys, and I test them. And I always say, why are you late for training? And straight away, you know what they say to me? I apologize, because I've teach them to not make excuses, regardless if it's not their fault, because they can't drive to training. They need their mom and dad or aunt, uncle to bring them into training. Now, I simply say to them, you know, as a coach, I don't like you guys turning up late. Give your mom and dad a kick up the butt, okay? Not literally, but just say, listen, mom, dad, if the journey is an hour, leave an hour and a half. Regardless if you're half an hour early for training, it's not the end of the world, okay? Because you're there on time to start training. Once you start making excuses, oh, I had a flat tire, or it had traffic. It's gonna have traffic regardless of where you are in the world, yeah? So when you start making excuses, the excuses start piling up, and then you run out of excuse. So that's what you're gonna do. So the only thing I say to them is just simply say, I apologize. You know, I'm sorry. You're already late. You're not going to make it right if you start saying, oh, well, oh, this one was late. I had to pick this one up, you know, things like that. You start confusing yourself and start making it into something that you really don't want to. And that's where the discipline comes in, you know. So once you get that discipline side, because if you yourself can reach to training early or for a game early, what is to say that the rest of the team can't be there in time? Because the guys who's coming late, they're letting the team down. They're letting you guys down, because if all the rest of the boys can be there early, so they should make the effort to be there early.
Okay.
Thank you. And
Interesting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And from North Carolina, we want to welcome your entire team. I'm going to ask, we have a few hands up. I'm going to ask Damien. Damien, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity of letting me ask this question. I know a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to talk. Thank you. My name is Damien Campos, and my question is really about, you know, when you were talking about the people around you who, like, let's say, you know, you have hope, but then you have the negative people around, like saying you don't have hope. But what if, and you said that if they're your friends, you can just, you know, get rid of them. But what if, let's say if it's a family member, it's like, you know, you're going to training, you have all this hope, and then you get home, and then you got parents, siblings. And so, well, like, how do you deal with that?
It's how to say, if these individuals is not willing to see what you want to be, or what you are believing, or what you striving to be, they don't have your well-being. Okay, they are just seeing it. Have you ever watched horse racing?
No, sir, I haven't.
You haven't watched horse. Okay, so you must watch horse. When a horse is running, they got blinkers, yeah? So they got nothing to distract them from the sides. They just see straight. That's what you got to do. You got to pretend like, okay, yeah, you know, because anything come run past the horse at the side, they get distracted. So you got them little blinkers at the side of the eyes. If you didn't know, it's because they could only see straight ahead of them. Yeah. And if these individuals, family, friends, or whatever it is, if they can't come down to your level or come up to your level, then you just have to leave them behind, because there are dark people out there. There are friends, family, whoever it is. There are people who will think, oh, no, you can't do that. And don't let anyone ever tell you, regardless who you are, don't let everyone ever tell you that you can't, because they don't know. They've not been in the position that you're in. No one should ever tell any person that they can't. Yeah, so they need to come to your level, and you need to try to teach them, all right, come up to my level and let me show you from my perspective how I'm seeing things. Okay, and then they might understand. They might take it with a pinch of salt, you know, because you could agree to disagree on certain things. But you know what? You might reach right in the middle, and then they might start understanding where you're coming from.
Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. And young Joshua Thompson, can you unmute and ask your question, please, Joshua?
Good evening, Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, young man.
My question is, who's the toughest player you ever faced in your career?
The toughest player? Ooh. Quite a few. I would say defensively, I would say Patrice Evra. He used to play for Man United and France, left back for Man United. And attacking player, I would say Ronaldo.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. So Carlos, I'm thinking you needed some hope there to face Cristiano Ronaldo and face Patrice Evra.
Listen. I was standing down by the 18-yard line and waiting for him. I said, no, I ain't going up because I would have been just eating smoke.
This Carlos Edwards guy, he's faced Ronaldo.
Well, so, yeah,
and the hardest player he's ever had to go against defensively, like try to beat 1v1, I think you're Patrice Evra, the Man United player, French player. Played for Sunderland. Sunderland, Ipswich Town, Millwall.
Wow.
English.
Carlos, he has some facts on you, buddy. He got some facts on you.
Yeah, he got some facts. He did his homework.
Nah, that's awesome. Andre Fortune had his hand up. Andre Fortune wanted to ask a question. Andre, please go ahead.
Seth, mute your phone. Mute your mic. You can be heard. Dion, thank you very much for hosting this. I think this is an extremely valuable session, just like all the others that you have done. Anytime you get the opportunity to speak with past players, professional players that been in that realm, to talk to young players, I think that's great. And Carlos, brother, thank you for taking the time to do this.
Always a pleasure.
And I want to encourage you, even if it's just to speak, to make yourself available.
Yeah, of course.
In this moment. I got a question for you. The question is, if I'm not mistaken, you said you coach as well, right?
Yes.
Actually, it's going to be two questions. You come from a generation like I did that you talk about things like respect and respect, the importance of respecting people and all of that good stuff. The generation today, they're different. And I'm listening to Michael Jordan recently in an interview talk about why it's difficult for him to coach, because the values that he embraced because of the generation he came from, those values are seen as old school values.
Yeah. And
they are not values that is easily embraced by the generation today. How do you bridge that gap when you coach?
It is a good question. I think I said to Dion, I think it was what, Friday, Dion, when I said to you, now you as players, as coaches, we move with the times, and you have to adapt. But there is no harm in a little bit of old school. There is no harm whatsoever, because I like the old school still. I still kind of, try to drill that in them to say, it's not all about just wanting to be this and be that and have the glitz and glam, because we all know now it's all about the glitz and glam, who's making this amount of money, who's making that amount of money. And when I look at my kids, I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their eyes that they want to be successful. They strive for it. And I just bring them down. And I always give them a bit of pep talk from when I was a kid their age once. Because I remember in Diego Martin, I used to be running around. Like I didn't have the opportunity like these boys in England have. They actually have things, they have their parents traveling 2-3 hours around the country, bringing them to training and I never had that. I had to travel, or if I do had a place to train, it was in some savannah with Timari all over the fields, things like that, Yeah. So I bring them down to my level when I was their age. And I said to them, you guys have it very easy. And you could see it in their eyes. Like when I tell them my story, you could see it in their eyes like, wow, Carlos, you went through all of that? And he could ask, because even now, I've been coaching them for 2 years, and they ask me that question over and over. Were you really in the military? Do you really do that, Carlos? Yeah? And I tell them, yeah. And that's how I get through to my kids. Now, I don't know, obviously, not everyone had the upbringing that I had or have things. Obviously, myself and you and myself, obviously, we know, obviously, what, you know, how we came about things and what we had to strive to become. But you just have to be, because the generation of today, you gotta put arm around them. You gotta put arm around them and assure them and try to show them what it's gonna take to be the next generation of players to entertain the world. And it is hard. There are some players take it on board, and then there are some players that just goes in and out at the same time, you know. But I said earlier in a conversation with you that if it is that I succeeded in getting 2-3 players to go to that next level, then I've succeeded, because you're not going to have the whole bunch of them just going and playing for the big clubs and stuff. You're going to have a few that's going to fall behind, and which is it is what it is, because in any club that you go to. But you just have to put arm around them and assure them and try to show them the basic things. Not everything is easy. Not everything is just, you know, ball and nice boots, blue and yellow and pink and whatever boots it is. You know, get down to it, come down and see. Come down to my level and then look at it. And then you can obviously progress from there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Carlos. And then we have, I hope I pronounced it correctly. Is it Herdizo? Herdizo, can you unmute and ask your question, please? Herdizo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Harry. I play for IDF. And I had one question for you, Mr. Carlos. How did you react to like losing a big game and having to go train the next day?
It is hard, but you know what? You learn more when you lose about yourself and your teammates than actually when you win. So yes, I used to have the hump, because no one wants to lose. But the joy and beauty of football, unless it's the last game of a season, you have another day to make it right. You have another game, as you rightly said, next day you go into training, you're going to make it right. We used to maybe have meetings, because some players may not be able to pull their weights when you need them, but no one goes out to a game to lose a game. You know, everyone is trying to put there for, you might have a bad game, which has happened, the best players in the world do. But you learn more from when you lose than actually when you win. And that is what propelled me, that I'm not saying that I'm going to lose every game because I want to learn. No, I want to win. But when you lose, you learn a lot.
Oh, thank you very, very much. And is it Abajomi? Abajomi, can you unmute and ask your question, please, Abajomi?
It's Abayomi, George.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Carlos.
Good evening.
My question is, looking back on your career, do you feel like you reached your ceiling? And what would you do differently to go to an even higher level than the tremendous one that you already achieved?
I wouldn't change anything, because for me, I fulfill my dream, and I did, as you say, there is hope, that is the title. I had hope to play at the highest level, which I did. And I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change my age. I wouldn't change how I started, because what the Lord Almighty put in front of me is the obstacles that He wanted me to overcome. And I did just that. And, you know, I loved every minute of it. I had ups and downs. I had injuries that could have finished my career. But I got up again and I moved on. So to say if I would change anything, I wouldn't change nothing.
Okay, thank you. And then Isaiah Wilson. Isaiah Wilson, can you unmute and ask your question, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Carlos.
Good afternoon.
My question is,
Good afternoon. Isaiah, just speak a little bit louder, buddy. Just speak a little bit louder.
in your career, which team you really wanted to play for?
Well, I'm an AC Milan fan. I'm a big AC Milan fan. My hero is Marco van Basten. From since I was really young, as a kid, you always want to back the winning team. And back in Trinidad, when you used to watch Italian football, AC Milan was always the top team. Ruud Gullit, right guard, Van Basten, all these players. So as a kid, I used to love that team. And I grew up ever since supporting that team, win, lose or draw. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to play for them. But I hope after they see this video, they might call me to manage the club one day.
Hey, there's hope, huh?
Yeah, there's hope. Yeah, there's hope. There's hope.
There's hope. Great question. Great question. And Harry, can you ask your question, please?
Good evening, Mr. Carlos. I'm Harry. I play for IDF, and my question was, what are the most important attributes in a team environment to be successful?
Ooh, the best attributes. That would be, that is such a good question, Harry. That was such a good question. I would say the best attributes to have is a bit of camaraderie in terms of you want to have a relationship outside of the changing room, outside of the stadium. You want to have that relationship where as a group, you can go out for a meal with your girlfriends, your wives, know each other, have a laugh, have something to eat. And that brings a bit more chemistry into the changing room. Yeah, it brings something, because you know what? It brings a bit of laugh into the changing room, a bit of relaxation, because let me just draw a point to you, is that if a group of you guys go, the majority of a group goes out with their girlfriends and stuff or the boys go out without their girlfriends or wives and stuff, you go on a nice little drink, have some food, have a laugh, because and then you go back into the changing room the next day or the following day, you guys going to have a laugh after that night out, would you? So that brings, and that's where I come, it brings a bit of a excitement into the changing room. And from that morning that everyone is coming into the changing room to talk about, hey, did you not see what that guy did? Blah, blah, blah. You can have a good laugh, and that just brings that extra energy into the training session or into the game, because you guys are now on the same wavelength. I'm not saying that you're going to go out every weekend and then everyone is drinking and everyone is coming back to their flats absolutely hanging over, the next day, but which is a good laugh sometimes, once it's harmful, but at the same time, you got to sometimes take away that competitiveness in the changing room and have a bit of time outside of it, so that you can get to know each other a bit more better than just on the training pitch.
Okay, cool. So Carlos, let me just throw a question in here. Have you ever been on a team where you had a teammate, and you don't necessarily have to call names, but you had a teammate that when the team lost, their remark was they lost, and when the team won, and let's say that person scored the goal, they went, I won. Have you ever been in a team in that type of environment?
Of course. And that there just shows that individual is just studying about himself, or just want to point fingers at other people. Because at the end of the day, we are a team. We win, we lose together. Okay? So what's the difference for that individual to start pointing fingers and we won, or you score a goal? Like I know a lot of people, I know a lot of players, regardless if we win lose or draw. Once they score, they've done their job. And that is a selfish side of things. And that is what you don't want in that changing room. You don't want that negative vibes. I've been into a lot of changing room that has a lot of negative, but you got to try to get that negativity, that dark force out of it.
Great, thank you, Carlos, for that answer. Is it Devonte? Devonte, can you unmic, please, and ask your question, Devonte?
Hi, good evening. This is actually Devonte's mum.
Hi, Devonte's mum. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I actually have two questions for you. What advice would you give to budding footballers looking at getting into academies or colleges seeking a football scholarship? And also, my second question is, how was it for you transitioning into another country, having to leave Trinidad, and the challenges that you faced, and at your time, in my era also, with the racism that you had to actually deal with also?
How to say, I think Dion will have a bit more in depth in scholarship side of things. He'll have a bit of in depth of academy, because he's been around longer than I have, Dion. Yeah, not saying that you are old, but you know, you've been there. But it's how to say, how old is Devante? Sorry.
Soon will be 16.
Oh.
So in Form 4, going into Form 5.
And what position does he play?
Midfield.
Okay. Who is his favorite
obviously
player?
being...
Yeah. Who is his favorite player? Who does he look up to?
English myself. He has the
Say again?
ability... Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney. All right. Let's say I'm the coach and I'm looking for Devante. I'm looking at Devante. Now, if I have a striker that is similar to Devante, now, and I already have a striker that is the same as him, it would be very difficult. Now, what Devante has to do is bring something different to the table. So, Mom, if you go into a family dinner, you're not going to cook a macaroni pie when your mom is already cooking a macaroni pie. You're going to bring something totally different that is going to just go, wow, yes, Devante mom, she is absolutely on point here. She's brought something that no one expects you to bring. All right. So Devante, when Devante goes to the table, when he goes to training, he has to make sure that when the coach looks at him, the coach is going to say, wow, he's different to what I got. You got to bring something totally different. No, it might be a bit difficult, might be hard, but I'm not saying to just change up your whole style, yeah. But you got to make sure that when you go in and you see other strikers, you see other players, give the coach something to think about when it comes to, I'm going to give Devante a chance. He's brought something different to the table here today. I can work with him because he's different. He's got different attributes. Maybe you can hold the ball up. You got pace. You know, you can run past someone. You can have a good shot. So you got to bring something totally different. Just don't be that Wayne Rooney. Be you. As I said to Dion before, have Rooney as that person that, yeah, but don't be the Wayne Rooney. Be different than Wayne Rooney, if you know where I'm coming from.
Okay,
and to the next question, my whole transition coming from obviously Trinidad to England, it was good. It was good. I mean, touch wood, as they say, I've never had anyone made a racist remark or heard anyone made a racist. They may have, but I was so focused on the football that it maybe just went over my head and went. but I never experienced something to say that I had to alert the authorities to say there was a fan that absolutely abusing me. It was my first couple of years having the transition. It was a bit difficult in terms of I always wanted to run back home until I realized, what is the point? Why am I doing it? And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to knuckle on myself, and I'm going to just make sure that I'm here now, and I'm here for a purpose and a reason. I'm going to make sure that I took advantage of that opportunity, which I did. And 20 years later, I'm still here.
And to add to
thank you very much.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
And let me just say for the young athletes, but regardless of the sport, if you're looking at a scholarship, obviously it's academics first. You're a student athlete, right? Academics first, and what Carlos said so brilliantly, it's what you bring to the table as a player, but it's academics. The better you do in academics, and for those of you who have to do the SATs and those type of exams, the higher your score is, easier it is to get into the school. It makes it easier for the coach to select you. Yes, there are coaches who would see you and say, right away, you're going to make an impact. So as Carlos talked about, what is different about you that as a freshman, you get to start over the sophomores, juniors, and seniors? So what are you bringing to the table right away? I think also being a great person is helpful, but your academics. We have had a lot of players in Trinidad who have gone on scholarships and sadly has lost their scholarships because they forgot the academics part of it. And of course, in university, you have to maintain a grade point average. So, and not only as an individual, but as a team, the team has a certain grade point average to keep up with for the school. So there are lots of opportunities there. There are thousands of scholarships available, but there are millions of kids trying to get those scholarships. So what
true.
makes you be different, right? So I hope that was a little bit helpful. So Richard Goddard, Richard, can you unmute please and ask your question?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Carlos, how things, man?
Tobago is in the house. Tobago is in the house.
Long time no see, boss. Long time no see.
Long time no see. How things?
I did. How things up on the north side?
Well, can't complain. And even though I complain, nobody listens.
That is always good advice. So what I'm asking you to do is to talk about the journey that you've had. I would say from Trinidad and Tobago under 20s, Olympic team, national team, from that period to to now, and the support network that was around you. How critical was it for those persons around you to kind of be that shoulder to lean on, or that mind to speak to sometimes when things were either down, or when maybe you needed to kind of check yourself as time went on and you started to build confidence, but maybe it started to seem like you were becoming arrogant because you were so confident of your ability. Just talk about the support network that you would have had and how critical it was for you.
It's always critical, and you see when you have people around you that want the best for you, it plays dividend. It pays so much. I had the likes of Mr. Grosvenor. I had Dion in my corner. I had Kenny Lai. I had, I could start naming people, and these are positive people, role models. These are people. Grovey, rest in peace. And these are people that, when they see something in an individual, you, as a person, as that individual, you want to make those people proud because they believe in what they see. They believe that you can go to the next level. It wasn't always an easy transition, but they never give up on me, because I know to myself, and it's so funny, Goddard, as you asked this question, because I told my under 14 this story today. I said I wasn't the best player in my era, in my times growing up with Hardis and Marvin Gordon and all these other boys, and then that had skill, as they call it, skill galore, you know. But what you think I had over these guys? I had this, yeah, and this, and I told my kids, I said, you know, when I was going for the under-17s, under-21s, I said, I knew deep down inside that when they were going to cut the team, when they were going to cut, I was going to be one of these casualties. But did it stop me? Never did. Never did. And now, I never look down at anyone. I never do. I still respect all my former teammates. But look where I am today, and look where some of them are. Okay? They choose to be where they are. I choose to be here. I choose to go to the next level. They didn't. And it's sacrifice, and it's people believing in you and giving you that encouragement that you need to go to that next level. So that just pays a lot, you know. But at the same time, you can't just live off of people just pushing. You got to take it amongst yourself and go and push and push and push. And at the same time, these same people that believe in you are pushing you and pushing you. But you can't just wait for these people to push you. You got to get up off your high horses and just go. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have these same people supporting you. And if you fall, they're going to catch you and push you back. You just got to keep going. And that's what I did. And I'm thankful for the guys that, hence the reason the relationship that me and Dion have right now. Dion could call out to me and text me and say, hey, Carlos, I need this, I need that favor, whatever it is. And these people, because these people were the ones that saw something in me. And it was, obviously, they can see something in me, but you got to look in amongst yourself, look yourself in the mirror and say, all right, these people see something. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to show them that? Are you going to prove them right? You're going to prove them wrong? Things like that. So in the hindsight of it, you know, I love every minute of it. And I will continue. Yes, you did make a point there, Goddard. There at one time when I made my debut for Trinidad and I started being a regular, I did take my eye off the ball a bit, because at one stage I think, you know, I got a bit carried away. But you know what? I got a reality check, and I never looked back since. You know, I think one of the coaches obviously told me that I'm not good enough to represent Trinidad and Tobago. Well, obviously I had to prove him wrong. So, and which I did. So, and that just shows, you know, I think by him saying that kind of opened back my eyes to say, Carlos, what are you doing? Like, you know, you really taking this for granted now. You think you reach. And this is where the discipline comes into the whole lifestyle, how you carry about yourself, what you do, how you think. Because for 1 minute, you take your eye off the ball for 1 minute, not literally take the eye off the ball, but take your eye off of what you work so hard to achieve, that in one split second, it can go away from you. So you got to make sure that you are on point at all times.
Brilliant, brilliant. Carlos, you know, you talked about something there, I remember, and I say with all humility, I remember talking to Shane O'Neill, who played for the US team, and he was also from Ireland. And his high school in Boulder, Colorado, I remember him telling me, Dion, all the boys I played with in high school were much better than me. He said, but I wanted it more. And you just to hear you say that, you know, he said these guys were very skillful, but I wanted it more than them. And I actually went, and I had the hope, and I wasn't going to give up. And he went on to do great things. And those guys, you know, they went and played in college, but they never went on.
Yeah, they just fall way behind. And that just shows, like, you know, once you committed and just knowing what you actually want, no one, I said to one of the guys, don't let anyone tell you can't, because they don't know. They don't know. So you just have to keep the motion, keep that train going. Don't let the train fall off. Don't let the wheel fall off the train. Just keep going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Marcus, can you unmute, please, and ask your question, Marcus, please?
How would you prepare mentally for game?
I will always do my homework on teams, see what their strengths and weaknesses are. But mentally, I used to take every game as if it's a final. I used to relish the challenges. Mentally, I would be home in my house, have a meal, sit. I would not overthink and overcomplicate things, because if I go to bed with the game on my mind, I wouldn't have a good sleep. I'll be very restless. I never go to sleep early because I can't, because I'm very anxious to play. You get butterflies all the time. Even at my age now, I play a little bit of football. I always get little butterflies, and that's good. That's good, because you know why? You're ready. You know, if you don't get them little butterflies before a game, you know, you're scared. So I get them little butterflies, but I don't overanalyze what I have to do or what I'm going to do. I just let the course take its toll. You know, get onto the pitch, prepare myself, you know, relax, have a little laugh in the changing room when an hour or so before the game. You know, get things off your mind. And as soon as that referee blows that whistle, I'm on it. I'm actually on it. So to say to just sit at home and being mentally stressed out, because I know there are some guys who, they start going, we got this game. And it's like, I can't be around those guys. I could, because I have to try to calm them down a bit, because these are the same guys that I have to be doing battle with. And these are the guys that's playing alongside me or in front of me or on the back of me. So I need them to be as calm as possible. I'm the calm one. I'd have some guys that I play with as some bag of nerves, you know, like it's just like, no, you better just turn up 5 minutes before the game. Because in the changing room, I had one teammate, he had, in the changing room, Dion, he'll have 3 poos before kickoff, mate.
Wow.
And that just, because he's nervous, you know, mate, I'm thinking, bloody hell, did you eat some curry or something last night that it's just going right through you or something, you know? You know, so yeah, everyone is different, you know, but I used to just be focused on just playing the best game possible.
So your point, Carlos, you not to overthink it. Don't overthink it.
No, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just go out there, put your best foot forward. Because when you start overthinking things, you're thinking, oh well, I'm gonna do it when I get the. You start thinking 90 minutes before the first minute starts. You know, so you kind of reshuffling too much in your mind at the same time, and you get yourself too overworked. And before you do that, you know, it's over before it even starts sometimes.
So Carlos, let me bring you to 2006 World Cup. Obviously, you're in the starting team, and you play against Sweden, and Sweden has Zlatan and all these top players, Freddie Ljungberg and all these top players. Talk us through a little bit, if you could share a little bit of your experience and some of your teammates' experience being in a World Cup. First time the men's senior team is at a World Cup. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
You know what? It was so, how to say it? It was I think the World Cup was yesterday. I think it was it 2006? Because it feels like it was just the other day, you know. But when you have a coach like Leo Bianhacker, he said, and it's like this guy needs an Oscar, because he needs the key to Port of Spain or something like that. He said to me, he called me in a meeting 2 days before that game, and he said, Carlos, I want you to concentrate on 2 positions. I was like, is he going to play me on the left? Now I got a walking stick for my left foot. So I'm thinking, no way he's going to put me on the left. If you know, then he said, I want you to play, because obviously I was on the right. So he said, I want you to focus on right midfield, right back. Now everyone knows what happened the first minute in the second half. So then It's like he was already putting things in place. He put that in place straight away. Bang. I didn't even have to look at him. He just went to me. He said to me that 2 days before that game, focus. He just switched Sid Gray over to left back and he just tucked me in at right back. I think I'm going to be having one of the best games in my career there for Trinidad at right back. And that just shows, I think having Leo as the coach, it made the transition of playing in the World Cup so much relaxed and easy because it's the biggest stage of football. You would be like in awe, like, oh, like, wow, like, but yes, I've played at big stadiums, Old Trafford, Emirates, and these big stadiums. But when you're playing at a World Cup, it's totally different. It's totally different. And Leo actually made the transition very easy for every one of us because he always used to say, if you're building a house, he used to put it in this. He said, if you're building a house, he said, you won't put the bathroom in the living room. You wouldn't put the kitchen in the front porch. What is he trying to say? And what he was trying to say to us, you wouldn't put the defense in the forward line and you wouldn't put the forward line in the defense. So he was just saying to us, make sure that you have your house organized. Yeah. So defense. You're going to put your bathroom, unless you have an ensuite, you put a bathroom upstairs. Unless you have a little mini toilet or so downstairs, you put that downstairs. You put the kitchen downstairs in the back. You know, you have the dining room, maybe next to the kitchen, whatever. And that's how he laid it out for us. And I think everyone took that on board so much. You had the likes of Russell and Dwight, who at one point used to do what the hell they want for Trinidad and Tobago football. They couldn't do that anymore because he made sure he laid it down for everyone. And I think Dwight and they really grasped everything. You know, even though they were the senior players, they really took it on board. And yes, even though we didn't win a game, but we came away knowing that we were successful. You know, as much as yes, we wanted to win or we wanted to score, but we could breathe a sign of relief that, you know what, yeah, it was good.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's somebody just put a question. Is it Mia or it's just MIA? But Mia, can you ask your question, please, Mia?
Yes. Hello, I am Mia Campos.
Hello, Mia.
Hello. My question is for Carlos. Have you ever gave up in a training session or a game?
No, I didn't. I wanted to. I deeply wanted to. But that fight in me always wanted me to make sure that I finish, regardless if you're winning or losing. That fight in me always wanted me to continue, and I did. But there are times that I really wanted to just say, oh no, I'll give up. But it's not in my nature to do that because it's not what I stand for. It's not what I would like to see any of my teammates or my kids that I coach do. I always say to them, if you're tired, you know, you can put your hands up because not everyone is equipped to play 70, 90 minutes. You know, there are guys who's unfit than some. So it's not in my nature, or would I encourage it for anyone to give up on a game of football.
And that's a great question from Mia. And Mia, let me say this to you, Mia. In life, the top people in the world, in sports, in business, and whatever, have at some point in time thought about giving up. So it's not an unusual thought to have, but what you have to do is to rise above it.
Yep.
Right? You have to will yourself and talk yourself into, I'm not going to give up. As much as I feel like I'm going to give up, I'm not going to give up. You know, so Mia, that's a fantastic question. Yannick Lewis, I saw you had another question. Go ahead, Yannick, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
My question is, you went.
Just talk a little louder, Yannick, so we can all hear you, please. Just talk a little louder, buddy.
This is better.
Yeah.
my question is that you went far in the sport. So why go far in the sport? Because for the glory or for the love of the sport, or because people wanted you to go far in the sport?
Well, no one actually wanted me to go far. They believed that I could have gone far. They encouraged me, and I played a game of football because I love the sport. Now I am a sportsman. I love any sport: tennis, basketball, cricket. But obviously, my love is football, and I play the game because I love the game.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Yannick. Joshua Thompson, can you ask a question, please, Joshua?
Mr. Carlos, like, when you played your first junior competitive game, how did you feel? Like, you 10 or something like that?
I felt good. I felt really good. But you know what? They used to call me Speedy Gonzalez. Do you know who Speedy Gonzalez? You know that you know that cartoon character? Yeah, Speedy Gonzalez. Andale, aliba, diba, diba. Yeah. That was me. But I was, I think, 9 or 10. And I was so passionate about the game that I used to want to play defense and attack. So what I used to try to do when they call me Speedy Gonzalez, I'll kick a goal kick and I'll try to get to the end of it at the same time, which is very impossible to do because a ball can travel faster than you at any time. But I felt really good because I remember when I got my first pair of boots, honestly, I used to sleep without boots. After every game, I used to scrub it out, put it in the sun, let it dry, and I used to put it under my pillow. No one can steal that boots from me.
That's awesome. That's a great question, Joshua. And forgive me if I don't get the name right again. Herdizo. Herdizo, can you ask your question? Yes, please. Good.
Hello. My other question was, Mr. Carlos, you said earlier that Ronaldo was your toughest opponent, and I wanted to know, what is it about Ronaldo that made him your toughest opponent?
He's very physical, he's very intelligent when he's moving. Yes, he's skillful. A lot of people just see a lot of the skill and stuff, but his movement and his pace cause a lot of problems for opponents. And obviously the goals and stuff, it's an extra quality.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yannick Lewis. Yannick, can you please unmute and ask your question, please, Yannick?
I don't have any question right now.
All right, no problem at all, Yannick. And Yannick, I believe Yannick is one of our top table tennis players in the country. Our young top table tennis players. So Yannick, that's can continue along that part, buddy. All right, so do we have a question from Isaiah Wilson? Isaiah, is your hand up?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, please, Isaiah.
Mr. Carlos, is there one player that you love to play along?
Isaiah, you just have to say again because we hardly hear you. Just speak a little bit louder, please.
Mr. Carlos, is there a player that you love to play alongside?
Yes, unfortunately, that player is no longer with us. May his soul rest in peace. He used to play with me for Sunderland. It's a Liam Miller. He died a couple of years ago with cancer at the age of 35. But he was one of the players that absolutely, they used to call him the next Roy Keane.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do we have some young ladies? And we have a few more minutes. Any young ladies who'd like to ask any question? The guys did a fantastic job. And any ladies who'd like to ask any question? We have some ladies on the call.
Thank you.
Denise Wickham, question for Mr. Edwards. How did it feel when you all qualified for the 2006 World Cup? And let me just follow up with that question, Carlos. And what would you tell us? You know, for how did that, the moment we qualified, we played obviously against Bahrain. What did that feel like, Carlos? Coming from a nation that has never qualified for a World Cup, you know, never smallest at that time, the smallest nation to make a World Cup now is Iceland. But what did that feel like? What was that moment like?
You know what? It's really tough to explain, because looking back at it, when that final whistle go, you were thinking to yourself, did this really happen? What's going on? I think it took me a couple of minutes before I actually start celebrating with the rest of players, because I was in shell shock. Like, we just actually qualified. Like, they ain't gonna take it back from us. Like, we ain't gonna go back to the hotel, come on the changing room and say, nah, you guys, it's just a dream.
It was a dream.
It's just a dream or something like that. You know, but you know, looking back at it, you couldn't had a better feeling whatsoever. You know, it was just, I could have just imagined the excitement back in Trinidad when that final whistle went. You know, I could only picture it, you know, as much as I wanted to be there in Trinidad, but I would have rather be with the team, which I did. But it was something that you really can't explain. And even now, when I speak about it, it's hard to actually explain, really. But I know, I knew at that point we made the nation really proud, you know, and everyone was, you know, just so excited about the whole occasion.
Well, Carlos, I can tell you, I was back in Trinidad, and even for me, it was so difficult. The whole country literally just went happy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
One thing I remember, this is a true story. I watched a game at a home in Maraval, and on my way back to practice, there was this man running down the middle of the road on the white line, and cars passing on either side of him.
Right.
And that guy did not care. He was so happy. I mean, I saw some weird stuff with people celebrating, but that one stuck in my mind. This guy didn't care. He just didn't care. It's like, because what that does for a nation, it's out of this world. We have a question from, is it Israel? Israeli? We almost
Israel.
guys, but Israeli, please. Sorry?
It's Israel.
Israel, sorry. Israel, welcome.
So I have a question for Mr. Edwards.
Sure.
So I was wondering, have you ever seen a next player do something that may be considered disrespectful to another teammate?
Yes.
Oh, and I was also wondering, you know, like after like you win a championship, you normally celebrate. What do you think was the weirdest celebration you all did, if you all ever did one?
Oh, I think when we won the championship with Sunderland, I think everyone held hands from the halfway line, and I think we could have hurt ourselves. And everyone did a belly slide, like just jump, and everyone was just sliding in synchronized all the way up to the goal post. I think I got a bruised chest with that celebration, but that was the weirdest one. And obviously, I've seen a lot of guys being very disrespectful to some opponents. Obviously, on both sides, some of my teammates were disrespectful to other opponents. I won't go into details of it, but it was really disgusting. But I wouldn't condone it one bit. You know, I've never been subject to that. I mean, obviously, I've a few guys say a few harsh words to me, but that is just in the heat of the moment, you know. And then after the game, you know, we shook hands. So things like that do happen. But when it comes to overstepping, there were a few times that, you know, you really get disgusted of certain things that was said and done to your teammates, and your teammate done to other players.
Wow, that's powerful. And Christian, can you unmute Christian Vasquez?
Yes, hello, good afternoon, everyone. And good afternoon, Mr. Carlos.
Good afternoon.
Yes, well, my question for you is basically, I have two questions actually. So one, when did you start off? At what age did you start off your career into football? And two, my other question is that I'm actually, well, my age, I'm 19 years of age, but I'm actually an aspiring athlete, and I've actually, I'm into football. Yes, I have a passion for it, but I'm still wondering, can I still go professional even though that I am 19 and I don't have much experience? I know the title is, yes, about hope, but sometimes there's a voice at the back of my head thinking that I still can't go pro due to my age.
Okay, I'll give you a tip. I was 21 when I signed for Wrexham in the English football. So what's to say, what's holding you back? Yeah, so that just shows, you have that bob over your head thinking, oh, I'm getting to that age. No, there are guys who sign in big clubs in England, signed their first professional contract when they were 18, 19. It doesn't matter, is what you believe in, what you're gonna strive to do, what you're gonna do about it. It doesn't matter your age and when you sign your contract, is what you can show the coaches that you deserve to have a contract or to go professionally. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you turn 20, 21. I've seen players who've signed for big clubs when they were 24, 25. So don't bring yourself down because you're thinking, oh, you're turning 19, maybe going on 20, and you're thinking, oh, I haven't signed that, I haven't been pro yet. No, you're defeating yourself by thinking that. What you're going to be concentrating on is, I'm going to get that contract regardless. I'm going to show you I deserve to be pro. Yeah, give them coaches a time that's going to sit back and say, oh, all right, yeah, he's got something about it. Because if you don't, and you just keep dwelling on, oh, I'm 19, I'm not going to go pro, then yes, you have, as you said before, you've got other aspirations of, doing other things. It doesn't matter just for football or basketball or athletics or whatever you're striving to be. Just be focused on the task, and it's making sure that you give those coaches something to ponder about, to say, he's ready. There you go. And for your next question, I started when I was at the age of 9.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yes,
you're welcome.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Christian. That's a wonderful question. And Carlos, I think this will be our last question. It's from Alea in the chat. Alea wants to know, what in one word that you can summarize or best describe your career in one word? Carlos, that's put me on the spot, buddy. In one word, they want to know about your career in one word. That's a little challenge.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Fantastic. That's it. It's, the journey that I had from back home to here has been absolutely fantastic.
Wow.
Yep.
And Carlos, what importance would you put on this question? Just came up in the chat, and I think it's important, even though I said one more question.
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is a parent asking, what education is important through our lives? What advice can you give some footballers who may be having a challenge maintaining their studies and their skill at the same time?
As I will reiterate what I said. Not everyone would be a professional player. Not everyone will be, yes, you will have the love for the game, but not everyone is built to go to that next level and stuff. And I always say to kids, there is life after sports, after football. If that don't materialize in sports, you got to make sure that that academic side of things, it's very essential, because if you don't succeed in the sports, what you got to fall back on? What you gonna do? Yeah. Are you going to look around and thinking, well, oh, what am I going to do now? No, you got to, and I said to you before, you remember what I was saying, we were talking about this first paycheck. Everyone's looking for that big paycheck, but you got to make sure that you see the bigger picture first. Like, if that football doesn't materialize, what am I going to do? What am I going to think of next? But you got to put that into place before. Don't just wait until it doesn't happen and then you're thinking, oh, well, I don't have a plan B. You got to put that plan B in place as fast as you put in plan A in place. So I would always say academic comes first, as much as you want to strive to be the next best footballer out of Trinidad or anywhere in the world.
Wow, that's awesome, Carlos. Thank you for that. And Yannick Lewis is begging me for one more question. So Yannick, I'm going to have to do it. So Yannick, please ask that question. Go ahead, Yannick. Go ahead.
My question is, in a team sport, would you say one position is better than another, or are all equally needed?
All is equally needed. At the end of the day, you are a team. So everyone, like, for example, I'll make an example. I always give my kids an example. Where does attack start from? If you're attacking team, where does the attack start from?
Defense.
Ah, look at that. Bang. You hit the nail right on the head. And where does the defense start from?
Attack.
There you go. So you've done, you solved the equation. No, I give you the equation, you solved it there without even a hesitation. So don't ever think that one position is better than the next. It all comes together because you are a team. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Guys, I want you guys to do something for me. I'm going to pretend to be my brother. So vroom, vroom, vroom in the Zoom. I want you guys hey, that's stuck with me, man. Vroom, vroom, vroom in the Zoom. So I want you guys to in the chat. Let's light up the chat. Tell Carlos what you thought about this talk. Let's go, guys. Everybody in the chat. Let me see you guys. Tell them what you thought about. Let me hear. Light up the chat. Come on.
Put something good, because I ain't
awesome.
Coming back.
Great. Come on. Vroom, vroom, vroom in the Zoom. Amazing. Enjoyable. Very inspirational. Wow. Informative. Motivational. Amazing. Thanks a lot, Carlos. It was great. Amazing. Enlightening. Great. Wow. Come on, come on. There are quite a few more of you. Come on, come on. Let me see that. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Let me see. Look at those words. Oh, look at those words. Look at those words. Little Joshua says, Carlos, that word that sums you up is fantastic. And he's going to live with that word from now on, you know? So Carlos, you're obviously not playing again, but you have a fan for life.
Of course, of course.
You know, so you guys are awesome. Keep putting those things in the chat. Carlos, on behalf of the Normalization Committee, the FIFA Normalization Committee, the staff of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, myself, the technical staff, Yale, all these guys who have been working hard, very hard behind the scenes. We want to thank you, Carlos, for really taking the time out. I know you are 5 hours ahead where you are now, so it's after 8 where you are. Thank you for taking the time, Carlos. Any final words for our participants? And thank you to those guys who have come from different parts of the world. Thank you for having you.
Guys, always a pleasure to lend a helping hand, regardless. If ever that you have doubt in yourself, just take a minute and believe where you are, where you want to go, what support you got, and keep the train moving. Do not stop. Don't let anyone ever say to you, you can't. That's not in my vocabulary. So it was enjoyable. I loved every minute of it. If any of you guys want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, look me up. Ask me any questions that you like. If you know, whatever questions, if you want any advice going forward, you can do that. It's not a problem whatsoever. All right. But stay focused, and always there is hope.
That's brilliant. And then one of the players from the team that is abroad, the entire team is here. He wanted to say a few words. Samson, go ahead, please, and say a few words. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you guys. It was really like informative coming in here, learning about everything, learning about your journey and what it takes to actually become successful. Thank you guys. And yes, from IDF, International Development Football. I don't know if you guys know, but Coach Andre is our coach, Andre Fortune. And I'm thanking him for telling us about this and allowing us to broaden our knowledge on professional footballers. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And you and Samson, you spoke like a champion. Keep it up, buddy.
Always,
Keep it up. That's
always,
excellent. That's
always.
excellent. So the IDF team and the players around the Caribbean and Trinidad and Tobago, thank you very much. I want you guys to do me one favor. Everybody just write in the chat for me, I have greatness inside of me. And I want to see who can write it the most. You have 1 minute, go. You're going to write, I have greatness inside of me. Who's going to write it the most? Go. Come on. Somebody's, oh, well done. Keep writing it. Keep writing it. You can write it a few times if you want. All right. And this, come on, write it like you mean it. I have greatness inside of me. I don't care how many exclamation marks you put. Put it in there. Broom, broom, in the Zoom. Let's do it.
In the Zoom. I love that.
I think Don will be happy with me for that one.
I love that.
Yeah, I have greatness inside of me. Come on, guys, fill it up. Fill up the chat. Fill it up. And I'm asking you guys, as you're writing that, please don't ever forget that. You have greatness inside of you. Don't ever forget that. There is hope, right? There is hope. You have greatness inside of you. And you guys one day will be like Carlos, be able to tell your story to the next generation.
Of
right?
course.
So remember, there are people waiting on you guys to achieve greatness, not just for money or that stuff, but to inspire people. Because with sport, you inspire many people. Carlos has inspired us, and you guys will inspire other people too. That's what it's about, helping everybody. So thank you very much again on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association. You guys did a fantastic job, right? And we're so happy to have you. Next weekend, we're gonna have Andrew Lewis, our Olympic sailor, is going to be on next weekend. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. I'll send a reminder during the week. We're going to have Andrew Lewis on, and again, it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be great. So, Carlos, thank you very much. And
I'm going to be there next Sunday.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Zoom.
That's awesome. Carlos, you're
Zoom
awesome
in the room. Vroom,
vroom, vroom in the Zoom. You guys have greatness in you. Don't ever forget that. So, thank you very much. Carlos has a media interview to do right after. So, guys, we're going to be signing off so Carlos can come back on and he has a media interview to do. So, thank you very much. And somebody says, vroom, vroom in the Zoom. Hey, I can't get over it. I really can't get over it. And all of you guys have greatness in you. Don't ever forget that. So, have a wonderful afternoon from Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Do you only want us to sign off and then sign back on?
Yeah, we'll sign off and sign back on, yeah.
All right, then.
Okay, cool.